I'm standing in a Superior Court conference room, watching my sister's face drain of color as my attorney slides documents across the mahogany table. The $625,000 Midtown Sacramento house Vanessa moved into 3 weeks ago? The one she's been posting about on social media, calling it her inheritance? She's about to lose it. Because sitting in my briefcase is Mom's original will, the real one, along with evidence of bank fraud, text messages proving conspiracy, and a notarized letter from Mom that starts with, "If anything happens to this will, Rebecca has the original." Vanessa's attorney, the one who helped forge a newer will and promised himself a $30,000 cut, he just realized his law license is about to be suspended. And the $15,000 Vanessa withdrew from Mom's account the week before she died? The district attorney is very interested in that. But let me back up and tell you how I got here. Hey everyone, welcome back. If this is your first time here, I share real stories of family betrayal and the satisfying justice that followed. If you've ever been the family caregiver while your siblings disappeared, only to swoop in when inheritance was involved, you're going to relate to this one. If this story resonates with you, I'd appreciate your support, a like, a comment, or joining this community for more stories like this. Drop your own experience in the comments below. I read every single one, and your stories matter. Now, let's get into it. My name is Rebecca Hartfield, but everyone calls me Becca. I'm 38 years old, a pediatric physical therapist earning $82,000 annually here in Sacramento, California. I'm married to David, who teaches high school history, and we've been together for 11 years. We have 2 kids, Emma, who's 9, and Noah, who just turned 7. We live in a modest 3-bedroom house in East Sacramento, the kind with a small yard and a mortgage that keeps us up at night sometimes. My younger sister is Vanessa Morgan, 34. She works as a pharmaceutical sales rep and pulls in about $145,000 a year. Vanessa lives in a newer development in Folsom, drives a leased BMW, and her social media is a constant stream of luxury brunches, weekend getaways, and designer handbags. We grew up in the same house, same parents, but you'd never know it from how differently our lives turned out. And I'm not talking about career choices or income. I'm talking about how we were treated. Growing up in our family's Midtown Sacramento home, a beautiful 1920s craftsman with original hardwood floors and a wraparound porch, the favoritism wasn't subtle. It was a constant, glaring reality that everyone could see but no one acknowledged. When I turned 16, I inherited Grandpa's 1994 Honda Accord. It had 180,000 miles, a broken air conditioner, and made a grinding noise whenever I turned left. I was grateful to have any car at all. When Vanessa turned 16, Mom and Dad bought her a brand new Honda Civic, $22,000, metallic blue, with a sunroof. She complained that it wasn't a BMW. When I graduated from Sacramento State's nursing program with honors, having worked 3 jobs to pay my tuition, Mom threw a small backyard barbecue. Maybe 20 people. Hot dogs and potato salad. When Vanessa landed her pharmaceutical sales job 4 years later, Mom rented out the Granite Bay Golf Club ballroom for her celebration party. 150 guests. Open bar. Catered dinner. A custom cake that cost more than my entire graduation party. For my 30th birthday, I received a $50 Visa gift card and a card that said, "Love you." For Vanessa's 30th birthday, Mom paid for an $8,000 Mediterranean cruise. For her and her husband. 2 weeks. All expenses. I told myself it didn't matter. I was the responsible one. The reliable one. The one who didn't need constant validation. But deep down, it stung. Every single time. Then Dad passed away 5 years ago from a sudden heart attack. He was 66. I was 33, Vanessa was 29. At the funeral, Vanessa cried dramatically in the front row while extended family comforted her. I sat quietly in the back, managing the funeral logistics I'd spent the previous week coordinating while Vanessa claimed she was too devastated to help. After Dad died, everything changed. Mom's health started declining. First it was just fatigue and some concerning blood work. Then, 2 years after losing Dad, Mom was diagnosed with stage 3 ovarian cancer. She was 64 years old and suddenly facing the fight of her life. Guess who became her primary caregiver? I drove Mom to chemotherapy appointments twice a week, every Tuesday and Thursday morning for 8 months. I'd take time off work, lose wages, reschedule patients. David would handle the kids' morning routine while I picked Mom up at 7 a.m. and spent 4 hours at the cancer center. I held her hand during infusions. I cleaned up when she got sick. I researched clinical trials at midnight after the kids went to bed. I managed her medications, 7 different prescriptions that had to be taken at specific times with specific foods. I coordinated between 3 different specialists who never seemed to communicate with each other. I reorganized her entire financial system when I discovered she had $23,000 in unpaid medical bills because she couldn't keep track anymore. I meal prepped for her every Sunday. I drove her to follow-up appointments. I stayed overnight when she was too weak to be alone. I advocated for her when hospital staff made mistakes with her chart. And Vanessa? She visited maybe once every few months. Always with elaborate excuses about work travel, important client meetings, mandatory conferences. When she did show up, it was for an hour on a Sunday afternoon. She'd take a selfie with Mom, post it to Instagram with some heartfelt caption about family being everything, and then leave before having to do anything actually helpful. "I'm so busy with work," she'd say, checking her phone every 5 minutes. "You're so much better at this caregiving stuff anyway, Becca. You're a natural." What she meant was, "You're already doing it, so why should I bother?" At the time, I didn't call her out. I was too exhausted. Too focused on keeping Mom alive and comfortable. Too worried about chemotherapy results and white blood cell counts and whether the cancer was spreading. But I noticed. And more importantly, Mom noticed. Last spring, about 18 months after Mom's diagnosis, her health took a sharp turn. The cancer had spread despite treatment. Her oncologist, Dr. Patricia Walsh, sat us down for a difficult conversation about palliative care and making Mom comfortable. We were running out of medical options. One evening in late April, I was sitting beside Mom's hospital bed during one of her longer stays. She'd been admitted for severe pain management and was finally resting comfortably after they adjusted her medication. It was quiet, just the beeping of monitors and the hushed sounds of the oncology ward. Mom reached for my hand. Her grip was weak, but her eyes were clear. "Becca," she said softly, "I need to tell you something important." I leaned closer. "What is it, Mom?" "The house," she whispered. "The Midtown house. It's yours when I'm gone." My throat tightened. "Mom, you don't need to." "No, listen." Her voice was firmer now. "You've earned it. You've been here. You've sacrificed everything, your time, your career, your own family's needs." "Vanessa." She trailed off, her expression sad. "Vanessa visits for an hour and takes pictures. You've given me years of your life." Tears stung my eyes. "I didn't do it for inheritance, Mom. I did it because I love you." "I know." She squeezed my hand. "That's exactly why you deserve it. I updated everything with my attorney last month. James Morrison has all the paperwork. The house goes to you. The other assets will be split equally, but the house is yours." I felt relief, not about the inheritance itself, but knowing Mom appreciated everything. Knowing she saw me. Really saw me. "Thank you," I whispered. She smiled weakly. "Thank you, sweetheart. For everything." That conversation happened on a Tuesday evening. I remember because David had Emma at soccer practice and my neighbor was watching Noah. I sat with Mom until visiting hours ended at 9, then drove home feeling emotionally drained, but somehow lighter. 3 weeks later, Mom passed away peacefully in her sleep at home with hospice care. I was there. I'd arranged for round-the-clock care so she wouldn't die alone. I held her hand during her final hours. I called family members to say goodbye. Vanessa arrived 20 minutes after Mom died, mascara perfect, outfit coordinated. She cried theatrically while relatives comforted her. No one mentioned that she hadn't been there for the actual dying process. No one acknowledged that I'd barely slept in 72 hours. The funeral was the following week, a Tuesday afternoon in mid-June. I handled everything: the obituary, the service program, the reception venue, the photo displays. Vanessa showed up in a designer black dress and oversized sunglasses, playing the devastated daughter for our extended family. During the reception, she pulled me aside near the dessert table. "We need to talk about Mom's estate," she said quietly, but her tone had an edge. "Vanessa, Mom literally just—" I know. She waved her hand dismissively. "But we need to get the legal stuff handled. James Morrison said we should meet at his office next week to go over everything." Something about her tone felt off, but I was too exhausted and grief-stricken to analyze it. "Fine. Whatever you want." She smiled tightly. "Great. I'll set it up for Thursday morning." That Thursday arrived 3 weeks after Mom's funeral. I took the morning off work and drove to James Morrison's office in downtown Sacramento, a sleek building with marble floors and expensive artwork. The receptionist directed me to a conference room on the 3rd floor. I walked in to find Vanessa already seated, wearing a cream blazer and a smirk that made my stomach drop. James Morrison, Mom's attorney for over 15 years, sat at the head of the table looking distinctly uncomfortable. His usual confident demeanor was gone, replaced with averted eyes and fidgeting hands. "Rebecca, have a seat," he said, not quite meeting my gaze. I sat down slowly, confused by the tension in the room. James slid a stack of papers across the table. "I've reviewed your mother's will and estate documents." My heart started pounding for reasons I couldn't articulate yet. "According to the most recent will, dated May 15th of this year, your mother left the family home, appraised at $625,000, entirely to Vanessa Morgan." The room tilted. "What?" Vanessa leaned back in her chair, examining her manicured nails. "Surprise. That's not Mom told me." I grabbed the papers, scanning frantically. There it was. A will dated May 15th, 2 months after Mom's hospital conversation with me. Every word was typed formally, seemingly legitimate. "The house to Vanessa. Other assets split equally." "This isn't right," I whispered. "Mom told me in April that the house was mine. She said she'd updated everything with you." James shifted uncomfortably. "Well, as you can see, she made subsequent changes." "Why?" I looked between them, my voice rising. "Why would she change her mind?" Vanessa finally looked at me, her expression cold. "Mom realized you were just after her money, Becca. All that caregiving?" She saw right through it. She wanted someone who actually loved her to have the house. The words hit like a physical blow. My hands trembled as I held the papers. "That's not true. I never." "The will is legally binding," James interrupted, his tone clipped. "I've reviewed everything. It's valid." I stared at him. Something in his voice was wrong. Too defensive. Too quick. "I'd like a copy of this," I managed. "Of course." James already had copies prepared, which should have been my first clue something was planned. I walked out of that office in a daze, clutching papers that didn't make sense. I sat in my car in the parking garage for 20 minutes, trying to process. Mom had promised me the house 3 weeks before this supposed new will. She'd been clear-eyed and intentional. Why would she change everything? Unless she didn't. The thought crystallized slowly. What if Vanessa had done something? But that seemed impossible. Mom's attorney was involved. It was official paperwork. Still, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was very wrong. The next week, Vanessa moved into the house. Just moved right in with her husband and their belongings, changing locks and everything. She texted our family group chat, aunts, uncles, cousins, with a cheerful message, "Finally getting what I deserve." Mom knew who really cared about her red heart. My phone exploded with confused responses from relatives who knew I'd been Mom's caregiver. My Aunt Linda called immediately. "Becca, what's going on?" "Vanessa's posting all over social media about inheriting the house." "Apparently Mom changed her will," I said numbly. "But you were with her constantly." "You." "I know, Aunt Linda. I don't understand it either. But I was starting to suspect. And that suspicion was about to lead me somewhere I never imagined going. One Tuesday morning, about 6 weeks after Mom's funeral, I was going through boxes of Mom's paperwork I'd stored in our garage. I'd been avoiding it, too painful, too overwhelming. But our tax accountant needed some documents, so I finally forced myself to start organizing. I was sorting through manila folders when I found one labeled in Mom's handwriting, "Original Estate Documents, Keep safe. My heart rate picked up. I opened it. Inside was Mom's will. The real will. Dated March 22nd, exactly when Mom had told me in the hospital. The house to Rebecca Hartfield. Other assets split equally. All properly notarized. All properly witnessed by Uncle Tom and Mom's friend Margaret. My hands shook as I kept reading. Beneath the will was a letter, also dated March 22nd, in Mom's handwriting on her personal stationery. To whom it may concern, this is my final will and testament. If anything happens to this will, Rebecca has the original copy. Vanessa tried convincing me to change it several times in recent weeks, promising she'd take better care of the house, saying Rebecca doesn't deserve it. I refused. Rebecca has earned this through years of selfless care. If any other will surfaces, it is not legitimate. Rebecca knows the truth. Patricia and Hartfield. The letter was notarized. Mom had planned for this. I kept digging through the folder. Bank statements. Highlighted entries showing a $15,000 withdrawal from Mom's checking account dated June 8th, the week before Mom died. I'd been managing Mom's finances. I never authorized that withdrawal. The signature didn't match Mom's shaky handwriting from her final weeks. Then I found a printout of text messages. Mom had screenshotted conversations with Vanessa from late April and early May. My stomach turned as I read. Vanessa, Mom, you need to reconsider the will. Becca's just using you. Mom, Vanessa, we've discussed this. My decision is final. Vanessa, I can take better care of the house. I have the money for maintenance. Becca will just let it fall apart. Mom, this conversation is over. Vanessa, fine. But don't say I didn't warn you when she abandons you. There were more. Weeks of Vanessa trying to manipulate Mom, trying to convince her I was only caring for her because of money. Mom had saved every conversation. The final document in the folder was a printed email chain between Vanessa and James Morrison from late April. My blood ran cold as I read. Vanessa, how difficult would it be to create a newer will? James, Vanessa, I can't discuss this without your mother present. Vanessa, what if I made it worth your while? $30,000 from the house sale. James, that's highly irregular. Vanessa, think about it. No one would question it. Becca won't fight, she's too passive. The chain continued with James eventually agreeing. They'd forged a newer will. Backdated it. Planned the whole thing. I sat on the garage floor surrounded by evidence, my entire body shaking. Not with grief anymore. With fury. Within 2 days, I'd made several phone calls. First was to Patricia Chin, an estate litigation attorney whose name I'd gotten from a colleague. I paid her $12,000 retainer from our emergency savings, money David and I had been saving for Emma's braces. Do we have a case? I asked during our initial consultation, spreading documents across her conference table. Patricia's eyes widened as she reviewed everything. Rebecca, you don't just have a case. You have a slam dunk. This is will fraud, bank fraud, and attorney misconduct. I'm calling the state bar today. What do we need to do? Everything you've found is admissible. We'll file emergency motions to freeze the property so Vanessa can't sell or mortgage it. We'll report James Morrison to the California State Bar with a formal complaint. The bank fraud goes to law enforcement. This is criminal. My heart pounded. How long will this take? If we move fast? 4 to 6 weeks for the property freeze. The criminal investigation will take longer, but we don't need that resolve to restore the valid will. We worked late into the evening drafting motions. Patricia subpoenaed James Morrison's communications and bank records, which would reveal the $30,000 transfer Vanessa had promised him. We gathered statements from Dr. Walsh, Mom's oncologist, who confirmed in writing that Mom was mentally sharp and competent until her final week, well after the March 22nd will date. I contacted Uncle Tom, who'd witnessed Mom's original will. He provided a sworn affidavit stating he'd witnessed Mom sign the March will and that she'd explicitly told him, "Becca gets the house. She's earned it." The following Monday, Patricia filed our motions with the Sacramento County Superior Court. Emergency hearing scheduled for 3 weeks out. Meanwhile, I contacted the Sacramento Police Department's Financial Crimes Unit and filed a report about the $15,000 withdrawal. Detective Sarah Martinez took my statement and the bank records. This signature doesn't match other documents from that time period, she confirmed, comparing handwriting samples. We'll open an investigation. I also filed a formal complaint with the California State Bar against James Morrison, detailing the email chain and the agreed-upon $30,000 kickback. Then came the waiting. 3 weeks of Vanessa posting Instagram stories from her house, showing off the original hardwood floors and craftsman details, hosting dinner parties. 3 weeks of relatives texting me asking what was happening. 3 weeks of barely sleeping, reviewing documents, and preparing for court. David was my rock through all of it. "You're doing the right thing," he said one night as I sat at our kitchen table at midnight, reviewing testimony notes. "Your mom wanted you to have that house. She made it clear. What if we lose?" I whispered. "We've spent our savings on this attorney. We're not going to lose. The truth is on our side." 2 weeks before our court date, Patricia called with news. James Morrison's attorney reached out. "They want to settle." "What?" "He knows we have him dead to rights. The State Bar is investigating. He's looking at losing his license and possible criminal charges. He's willing to testify against Vanessa in exchange for a plea deal." My head spun. Can we trust him? We don't need to trust him. We have independent evidence. But his testimony will make this faster and cleaner. And Rebecca. Patricia's voice softened. The bank records show he received a $30,000 wire transfer from Vanessa's account dated June 20th. We have proof of the conspiracy. On the scheduled Tuesday morning in late July, exactly 6 weeks after Vanessa moved into Mom's house, we gathered at the Sacramento County Superior Court for our hearing. I arrived early with Patricia, wearing the most professional outfit I owned, a navy dress and blazer I'd bought years ago for a work presentation. David sat in the gallery behind me for moral support. My hands trembled as I organized documents in my briefcase. Vanessa walked in 20 minutes later with her attorney, Marcus Webb, a slick-looking guy in an expensive suit. She wore a designer dress and her signature oversized sunglasses, which she removed dramatically as she sat down. When she saw me, her confident expression flickered slightly before the smirk returned. James Morrison sat separately with his own attorney, looking pale and defeated. The confidence he'd shown in his office was completely gone. He wouldn't meet anyone's eyes. Judge Elizabeth Crawford entered, and we all stood. She was in her early 60s with a no-nonsense demeanor and a reputation for not tolerating fraud. "Be seated," she said briskly, reviewing the case file. "This is an emergency motion to freeze property and challenge will validity." "Ms. Chin, you represent the petitioner." "Yes, Your Honor," Patricia stood. "Rebecca Hartfield is challenging the validity of a will dated May 15th and asserting rights under the original will dated March 22nd. Mr. Webb, your client is the respondent?" Vanessa's attorney stood. "Yes, Your Honor. We maintain that the May 15th will is valid and binding." Judge Crawford looked over her reading glasses. "Let's hear your case, Ms. Chen." Patricia stood and began methodically presenting evidence. First, she submitted Mom's original will dated March 22nd, properly executed and witnessed. Then the notarized letter from Mom explicitly stating this was her final will and warning about any subsequent documents. "Your Honor, we have proof that the decedent, Patricia Hartfield, was mentally competent when she executed this will. Dr. Patricia Walsh, her treating oncologist, has provided a statement confirming Mrs. Hartfield was cognitively sharp until approximately 1 week before her death, well, after the alleged May 15th will." She handed up Dr. Walsh's statement. Judge Crawford read carefully. "We also have testimony from Thomas Hartfield, the decedent's brother, who witnessed the March 22nd will signing." Patricia presented Uncle Tom's affidavit. I glanced at Vanessa. Her jaw was tight, hands gripping the armrests. Then Patricia went for the kill. "Your Honor, we have evidence of conspiracy to commit fraud." She submitted the printed email chain between Vanessa and James Morrison. As you'll see, Ms. Morgan approached Mr. Morrison about creating a false will and offered him $30,000 for his cooperation. Judge Crawford's expression hardened as she read. The courtroom was completely silent except for pages turning. We have bank records showing a $30,000 transfer from Ms. Morgan's account to Mr. Morrison's personal account dated June 20th, after Mrs. Hartfield's death. Vanessa's attorney jumped up. Your Honor, this is... Sit down, Mr. Webb. Judge Crawford's voice was ice. I'm reading. She continued through the evidence. The text message screenshots showing Vanessa trying to manipulate Mom. The bank fraud evidence showing the unauthorized $15,000 withdrawal. Every piece Patricia and I had compiled over the past 6 weeks. Finally, Judge Crawford looked up. Mr. Morrison, stand up. James stood shakily. Did you conspire with Vanessa Morgan to create a fraudulent will? His attorney whispered something to him. James swallowed hard. Yes, Your Honor. I did. The courtroom erupted in whispers. Judge Crawford slammed her gavel. Order. She turned to Vanessa. Ms. Morgan, did you pay Mr. Morrison $30,000 to create a false will? Vanessa's face went from red to white in seconds. That's not, Your Honor, my sister was. Answer the question. Yes or no? Marcus Webb leaned over, whispering urgently. Vanessa's hands trembled. Yes. But it's because. That's all I need to hear. Judge Crawford made notes. The May 15th will is void due to fraud. The original will dated March 22nd is hereby validated and enforced. Ms. Morgan, you have 48 hours to vacate the property at 2847 Midtown Avenue. Your Honor, please, Vanessa's voice cracked. Furthermore, I'm ordering a full forensic accounting of Patricia Hartfield's accounts. Ms. Morgan, you will be required to repay any unauthorized withdrawals, plus Ms. Hartfield's legal fees. She looked at the documents. That's $15,000 in unauthorized withdrawals plus $12,000 in legal fees. Total, $27,000. Vanessa's attorney tried to object, but Judge Crawford cut him off. The evidence of bank fraud will be forwarded to the district attorney's office for criminal investigation. Mr. Morrison, the State Bar has been notified. I expect your license will be suspended pending their investigation. She looked at me. Ms. Hartfield, the property is yours per your mother's valid will. All restrictions are lifted. I couldn't speak. Tears streamed down my face as Patricia squeezed my hand. After the judge left, Vanessa whirled on me in the hallway, mascara running. You did this. You ruined everything. No, I said quietly, my voice stronger than I expected. You did this. You forged a will. You stole money from our dying mother. You tried to take what she wanted me to have. I deserve that house. You visited her maybe 10 times in 2 years while I was there every single day. You posted Instagram photos while I held her hand through chemotherapy. You don't get to rewrite history just because you want the ending to be different. David gently pulled me away before Vanessa could respond. We walked out of that courthouse into bright California sunshine, and for the first time in months, I could breathe. It's been 4 months now since that court hearing. The dust has settled, and the consequences have been exactly what Vanessa deserved. The State Bar suspended James Morrison's license for 2 years pending a full disciplinary hearing. He's facing additional charges for legal malpractice and criminal conspiracy. His law firm, the one he'd built over 20 years, fired him immediately. Last I heard, he's working as a paralegal in Fresno, trying to salvage what's left of his career. Vanessa had to vacate Mom's house within those 48 hours. She moved back to her Folsom rental, which suddenly seemed smaller to her. The district attorney did file criminal charges for bank fraud and conspiracy. She took a plea deal, 2 years probation, restitution, and 200 hours community service. Her pharmaceutical company quietly let her go when the charges became public. Turns out they don't love employees with fraud convictions. Our extended family? Once they learn the full truth, most cut her off completely. Aunt Linda hasn't spoken to her since the hearing. Uncle Tom won't return her calls. Even our cousin Michelle, who was always Vanessa's biggest defender, sent me an apology text. I'm so sorry I didn't see what was happening. You deserved better. As for me, I have Mom's house now. The house where we grew up, where Mom raised us, where all those memories live. David and I haven't decided if we'll move in or sell it. For now, we're renting it to a nice family, a young couple with a toddler who loves the wraparound porch just like I did as a kid. The rental income is helping rebuild our savings after the legal fees. Emma and Noah know what happened, age-appropriate version. We told them that Aunt Vanessa made some bad choices and that Grandma wanted us to take care of her special house. They understand. Kids are perceptive. I think about Mom a lot. I think about that hospital conversation when she promised me the house. She'd planned for this. She knew Vanessa might try something, and she made sure I had the evidence to fight back. That letter she left, those screenshots, the notarized statement, she protected me even after she was gone. The truth is, I didn't do this just for the inheritance or the property value. I did it because it was right. Because Mom spent her final months being clear about her wishes, and Vanessa tried to erase them. Because someone needed to hold her accountable for exploiting our dying mother. But I won't lie, watching Vanessa's perfect life crumble because of her own greed felt satisfying. Sometimes karma needs a little help from the legal system. Sometimes justice requires you to stand up and fight, even when it's exhausting and expensive and scary. And sometimes, the responsible daughter who is always overlooked finally gets to be seen. So that's my story. Sometimes the best revenge is protecting what's rightfully yours and letting consequences catch up to the people who wronged you. If this story resonated with you, I'd be grateful for your support, whether that's a like, a comment, or joining this community for more stories like this. Drop a comment below. Have you ever been the family caregiver while siblings disappeared, only to show up for inheritance? How did you handle it? I read every single comment. And if you're dealing with something similar right now, document everything, get legal help, and don't let anyone gaslight you into thinking you're wrong for standing up for yourself. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video where I share the story of a woman whose mother-in-law tried to steal her identity and credit. Take care.